Kindness is a virtue, but weakness is a liability. If you're always being nice at the expense of your own success, you'll never build wealth. Because in this world, success doesn't go to the most agreeable. It goes to the most prepared, the most strategic, the most relentless. And yet too many people confuse being nice with being valuable. They think that if they just keep giving, if they keep sacrificing, someday the world will repay them. But life doesn't work that way. Let me tell you something. The world respects strength, not self-sacrifice. It rewards those who stand their ground, who set boundaries, who have the courage to say no when it matters. But if you're always bending over backwards, always making yourself smaller to make others comfortable, you will never step into the success you're capable of. Think about it. Who builds empires? Who creates wealth? Who leaves a legacy? Not the ones who hesitate, not the ones who wait for permission, and certainly not the ones who let guilt hold them back. It's those who understand that generosity comes from abundance, not sacrifice. It's those who take control, who prioritize their own growth, who refuse to let the expectations of others dictate their future. So I ask you today, are you living your life, or are you just making everyone else's easier? Because if you're too afraid to claim your own success, I promise you someone else will. The reality is that people will take advantage of you if you don't stand up for yourself. If you're always too nice, always saying yes when you really should be saying no, you're setting yourself up to be used. I've seen it time and time again. People who are constantly accommodating others, bending over backward to help, only to find that they're left with nothing for themselves. They give and give, but the truth is they're giving away their power. And if you're constantly giving away your power, you'll find yourself running on empty. The world is full of people who will gladly take what you give them, and they will do it without a second thought. I've known people who will borrow money without ever paying it back. They'll promise to return favors and never follow through. Some will dump their problems onto you and expect you to clean up the mess. And you know what? It's not because they're bad people. It's simply because they know there's no consequence to their actions. They know they can rely on your good nature, your willingness to help, and they know that you'll never ask for anything in return. But here's the truth. If you keep giving without boundaries, if you keep bending to everyone's demands, you won't build anything of value for yourself. You'll be left behind. The irony is that people don't respect you for being nice when you don't stand up for yourself. They may thank you in the moment, but behind your back, they'll see you as weak, someone to take advantage of. And in business and relationships in life, weakness doesn't get you anywhere. You've got to understand that being nice without setting boundaries doesn't make you kind. It makes you vulnerable. I've always believed that success isn't about being liked by everyone. It's about knowing when to say yes and when to say no. It's about setting the agenda for your life so others don't set it for you. And that's where so many people go wrong. They let the world dictate their path. They let other people's needs, demands, and expectations dictate their time, their energy, and their resources. But when you let other people's agendas take over your life, you'll always be playing catch up. You'll be running in circles, constantly reacting to everyone else's demands while your own goals and dreams are put on hold. You don't have to be rude to set boundaries. I've heard it said. And that's true. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you have to be unkind or cruel. It simply means you need to have the courage to protect your time, protect your energy, and protect your resources. And you have to recognize that you're not obligated to meet everyone else's needs at the expense of your own. Think of it this way. If you're constantly giving away your time, your energy, your money, you're going to burn out. You'll have nothing left to give to yourself, let alone to your goals and dreams. I've seen so many people, good-hearted people, who think that by saying yes all the time, they're hurting themselves. They're pouring from an empty cup. They're setting themselves up to fail. But when you set boundaries, when you start standing up for yourself, people will respect you more. They may not like it at first, but they will respect you. Respect is the foundation of any successful relationship, whether it's personal or professional. If people see that you have boundaries, that you know what you're willing to give and what you're not willing to give, they'll start treating you differently. They'll start valuing you more. And that's when your life will start to change. When you stop letting others walk all over you, when you start standing firm in your beliefs, your values, and your goals, that's when you'll begin to build the life you deserve. Because success isn't about constantly pleasing others. It's about taking control of your own life. It's about setting the agenda for your future, not letting anyone else dictate it for you. You have to protect your time, protect your energy, and protect your future. Only then can you truly start building the life you deserve. So ask yourself, are you allowing others to set the agenda for your life? Or are you taking control of your own destiny? Because the choice is yours. And if you don't make it, someone else will. Let's face it, if you're always trying to please everyone, you're not going to command respect. You can be the nicest person in the world, but if you're constantly saying yes to everything, even when you don't want to, people won't respect you. They'll see you as a pushover, someone who can be manipulated and taken advantage of. They won't look to you for guidance or leadership. They'll see you as someone who doesn't have the courage to stand up for themselves or make tough decisions. And the worst part? The respect you're hoping for will never come. Now, I'm not saying you should be rude or dismissive. There's a difference between being firm and being cruel. But the truth is, you need to have the strength to say no when it's necessary. You can't be all things to all people. If you're constantly bending over backwards to make others happy, you'll lose yourself in the process. And when that happens, people will stop taking you seriously. They'll stop respecting you because they'll see that you're only concerned with making them comfortable, not with making the tough calls that lead to success. Take a look at the most successful people. Are they rude or harsh? No. But they are firm. They know what they want. They know what they're worth. And they don't allow others to dictate their time, their energy, or their values. They understand the importance of setting boundaries. They understand that to gain respect, they must first respect themselves enough to protect their time, protect their energy, and protect their priorities. This is how they become successful. There's an old saying, learn to say no. Don't let your mouth overload your back. This couldn't be more true when it comes to building respect. If you're constantly saying yes to things you don't want to do, you're going to end up overburdened, stressed, and unproductive. And the worst part is, people will begin to see you as someone who can't be relied upon to make the hard choices. They won't trust you with leadership. They won't trust you with opportunities. Because at the end of the day, people respect strength and confidence. They respect those who know when to take charge and when to step back. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone rise to a position of leadership or influence only to lose it because they didn't know how to say no? Maybe they tried to please everyone, tried to do everything, and as a result, they ended up burned out and ignored. People didn't respect them anymore because they were always available. But successful leaders, successful business people, and successful individuals, they know how to say no. They know how to protect their time and their energy. Being respected is far more valuable than being liked. In fact, when people respect you, they'll take you seriously. They'll trust you with leadership, they'll trust you with business opportunities, and they'll trust you with success. But if you're too busy trying to please everyone, if you're saying yes when you should be saying no, people won't see you as someone they can rely on. They won't see you as someone with authority. And that's why the ability to say no is one of the most important skills you can develop. When you're too nice, you often become overly concerned with how others perceive you. You don't want to rock the boat or make waves, and so you avoid doing or saying things that might invite rejection. You avoid asking for what you truly deserve, and instead you settle. But here's the truth. Success doesn't come to those who avoid rejection. It comes to those who step up to the plate, take the risks, and accept rejection as part of the process. Think about it. What would have happened if Thomas Edison had stopped after hearing no from the countless people who doubted his ideas? What if Steve Jobs had given up after being fired from the company he built just because people rejected his vision? The truth is, the greatest minds in history faced rejection over and over, but they never let it stop them. They understood that rejection isn't personal, it's simply part of the journey to success. I remember early on in my career, I was terrified to ask for what I was worth. I thought if I asked for a raise or negotiated for better terms, I might be rejected, and that would mean I wasn't good enough. I didn't want to put myself in that vulnerable position, but then I realized that if I didn't ask, I was already rejecting myself. I was holding myself back. It was a tough lesson to learn, but once I made the decision to face rejection head on, things started to change. I began to negotiate harder. I asked for raises, and I pushed myself to ask for opportunities that I once thought were out of my reach. And while I still faced rejection from time to time, I learned that rejection wasn't the end. It was just a step along the way to getting what I wanted. If you really want something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck. The people who succeed understand that rejection is part of the game. They don't let it stop them. They don't let it derail them. Instead, they learn from it and keep going. One of the biggest reasons people don't get what they want is because they're too afraid to ask. They fear the rejection, and so they don't even try. But success is earned through boldness. You have to be willing to step into that fear, to ask the tough questions, and to put yourself out there, even if there's a chance you'll be rejected. Because here's the kicker: rejection isn't a reflection of your worth. It's just a reflection of someone else's opinion at a particular moment in time. And that's all it is. The people who are willing to face rejection are the ones who win. They understand that in order to get what you want, you have to be willing to hear no 1,000 times and still keep moving forward. You'll never get what you want if you don't ask for it. And you'll never get it if you don't push past the fear of rejection. Rejection is just a part of the process, a signal that you're moving in the right direction. It's not a sign to stop. It's a sign to keep going. When you let fear of rejection hold you back, you're essentially locking yourself in a cage of your own making. You're preventing yourself from moving forward, and you're preventing yourself from experiencing the success and wealth that you deserve. Don't let the fear of rejection stop you. Instead, let it motivate you to push harder, aim higher, and demand more from life. Because the people who embrace rejection are the ones who create their own success. Too often, when you're focused on pleasing everyone around you, you lose sight of your own growth. You're so concerned with making others happy and maintaining peace that you end up in a cycle of complacency. The problem with being too nice is that it keeps you stuck in the same place. You avoid conflict. You say yes when you should say no. And you do what others expect of you. But here's the truth. Comfort doesn't bring growth. In fact, it does the exact opposite. When you're too comfortable, you stop pushing yourself. You stop striving for more, for better, for greater things. You're essentially setting your own limits by choosing comfort over progress. But success is not about staying in the comfort zone. Success is about breaking out of it. It's about taking risks, making hard decisions, and stepping into the unknown, even when it's uncomfortable. Think about some of the most successful people you admire. Did they get where they are by staying comfortable? Absolutely not. They took bold actions. They stepped into uncomfortable situations, and they were willing to risk failure in pursuit of success. They didn't wait for someone to give them an opportunity. They created their own opportunities by embracing discomfort. Take a look at the story of someone like Walt Disney. He faced rejection after rejection and even went bankrupt at one point, but he didn't let that stop him. He embraced the discomfort of failure, learned from it, and continued to push forward. He didn't wait for an easy path to success. He made the uncomfortable decisions to follow his dreams, and in doing so, he changed the world. Your life does not get better by chance, it gets better by change. This is one of the most powerful truths you'll ever hear. The change you want in your life won't come by sitting back and waiting for the stars to align. It comes by you making a decision to step outside your comfort zone. It comes from you saying yes to the difficult things and no to staying where it's safe. When you stop being too nice and start taking bold actions, that's when opportunities begin to unfold. I've met countless people who are waiting for the perfect time to take action. They're waiting for the right moment when everything is aligned. But here's the harsh truth. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment when everything is perfectly aligned and everything feels easy. If you wait for that, you'll be waiting forever. Growth comes when you choose to step into the unknown. It comes when you stop waiting for permission, stop being nice to everyone else, and take control of your own future. If you're too comfortable, you're missing out on the opportunities that will lead you to success. Opportunities don't come when it's convenient. They come when you decide to go after them. They come when you take a bold step forward, even when you're not sure where that step will lead. They come when you're willing to feel a little bit of fear, a little bit of discomfort, and take action anyway. Think about this. If you're not willing to take uncomfortable steps toward your goals, you'll never achieve them. Success doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you decide to make it happen. When you decide to push past the discomfort, to stop being too nice to everyone and to focus on your own growth, you begin to unlock opportunities. Opportunities are like doors. and you can't wait for someone to open them for you. You have to be bold enough to walk up to those doors, knock, and open them yourself. Don't wait for someone to give you permission to grow. Go out and claim your success. Take that uncomfortable step. The growth you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. Being nice, too nice, can sometimes mean settling for less than you deserve. You'll find yourself in situations where you're not getting the recognition, compensation, or respect you've earned, all because you don't want to seem demanding or ungrateful. You settle for a mediocre salary, accept poor treatment, or let your work be undervalued simply to avoid conflict. But here's the thing, gratitude doesn't mean accepting less. Gratitude means recognizing what you have, but it also means understanding that you deserve more. It means you should never allow your politeness to stand in the way of your worth. Too many people live their lives in a perpetual state of compromise, lowering their standards because they don't want to appear difficult. But that's not how success works. Success is about understanding your value, and not just understanding it, but having the courage to demand it. When you settle for less than your worth, you're not being humble, you're being weak. You're allowing others to dictate your potential, and that's not how you get ahead. Think of the most successful people. Do they settle for less? Do they accept mediocrity just to avoid conflict? Of course not. They know their worth. They understand that if they want to be paid well, treated well, and recognized for their contributions, they have to demand it. They've learned the art of negotiation, and they've learned how to push back when others try to undervalue them. Take a moment to think about this. You get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. This is a fundamental truth. The world doesn't pay you based on how nice you are, it pays you based on the value you offer. If you want to earn more, you have to increase your value, and to increase your value, you need to invest in yourself. Your knowledge, your skills, your experience. Only then can you demand the rewards that come with it. But here's where many people fall short. They're afraid to ask for what they deserve. They think they'll appear greedy or ungrateful. But that's a mindset rooted in fear, not reality. The truth is, if you don't demand more, no one will give it to you. The world doesn't just hand success to anyone. You have to stand firm and say, I know what I bring to the table, and I'm not afraid to ask for what I deserve. Think about someone working at a job where they're not being paid what they're worth. They may be afraid to negotiate because they don't want to upset their boss or risk their job. But by accepting less than they deserve, they're actually devaluing themselves. They're saying to the world, I'm not worth more than this. And that mindset holds them back. Now let's look at a different scenario. A person who recognizes their worth doesn't wait for others to determine it for them. They take the time to understand the market, their skills, and their value. They walk into negotiations prepared, confident in what they bring to the table. And if they're offered less than they know they're worth, they don't accept it. They make their case, and if the offer isn't improved, they walk away. Why? Because they know that if they settle, they'll only be doing themselves a disservice. Remember, the most successful people in the world didn't get there by waiting for someone to hand them a raise or offer them an opportunity. They got there because they demanded it. They asked for more, they pushed for better, and they didn't settle for mediocrity. They refused to accept a life below their potential. If you want to get ahead in life, you need to stop settling for less. You need to stand up for yourself, recognize your value, and demand more. No one is going to give it to you, but you can earn it. And it starts with knowing that you are worth more than you've been accepting. If you don't fight for what you deserve, nobody else will. It's up to you to go out there and claim the success that you've earned. If you're always playing it safe, you're setting yourself up for mediocrity. The overly nice, overly cautious, and overly fearful never reach their full potential because they're too afraid to step into the unknown. They hesitate when an opportunity arises, worrying about failure, the possibility of losing or not getting things right the first time. But here's the brutal truth. Success doesn't come from sitting on the sidelines. It comes from stepping into uncertainty and taking calculated risks, even when there's no guarantee of success. Think about the most successful people in the world, the millionaires, the entrepreneurs, the visionaries. Do you think they got where they are by playing it safe? No. They got there because they took chances, sometimes huge risks, and sometimes they failed. But they kept going. They didn't let fear of failure paralyze them. They didn't shy away from the unknown. They understood that success requires risk. And without taking that leap, they would have never gotten anywhere. If you're not willing to risk the unusual, then you're going to have to settle for the ordinary. That's the reality. The world is full of ordinary people who play it safe. They follow the same path, they do the same things, and they get the same results. But the extraordinary, they take risks. They step out of their comfort zones, even when it's scary. They know that fortune favors the bold, not the timid. Let me give you an example. Look at the story of any successful entrepreneur. They started with an idea, a vision, but they didn't just sit back and hope someone would give them a chance. No, they took a risk. They invested time, energy, and often money into something that had no guarantee, and many of them failed at first. But they learned, they adjusted, and they kept moving forward. You think about people like Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. He didn't let failure stop him. He embraced it as part of the journey, knowing that the reward of success was worth the risk of failure. Now you might be thinking, but what if I fail? What if I lose everything? That's a valid concern. But let me ask you this. What's worse, taking a chance and failing, or sitting on the sidelines and never knowing what could have been? What's more painful, the regret of trying and failing, or the regret of never trying at all? Many people never take risks because they fear failure. They fear rejection, fear losing, and fear being judged. But you know what fear is? It's just a feeling. It doesn't control you unless you allow it to. Fear is natural. It's part of being human. But success is about overcoming that fear. It's about stepping into the unknown, even when you're scared. It's about saying, I'm going to do this regardless of what happens because the potential reward is worth it. Let's take a look at some of the world's most successful people. Did Jeff Bezos risk everything when he started Amazon? Yes. Did Elon Musk risk his fortune when he invested in SpaceX? Absolutely. Did Oprah risk everything when she started her own TV network? Without a doubt. And all of these people faced rejection, failure, and doubt along the way. But what they didn't do was let fear stop them. They kept moving forward, and that's why they succeeded. It's time to stop being afraid of taking risks. The risks you take don't have to be reckless. They don't have to be big, bold moves all the time, but they do need to be calculated and they do need to be brave. If you want to achieve something beyond ordinary, you need to take risks. You need to move beyond your comfort zone and embrace the challenges that come with it. Don't let fear hold you back from your success. Don't let it keep you from going after what you really want. Because if you're not willing to risk the unusual, you'll have to settle for the ordinary. And I don't think any of us want that. It's a noble thing to want to help others, to lend a hand and make a difference. But let me tell you something that's not often said. If you're always helping others, you'll have nothing left for yourself. The reality is, there's a big difference between giving and sacrificing yourself. Nice people often find themselves in this situation, spending so much time and energy helping others that they forget about their own growth. They pour everything they have into lifting others up, but they neglect to lift themselves. And in the end, their dreams remain unfulfilled. Think about it. If you're always the one people turn to for support, advice, or financial help, what happens to your own aspiration? What happens to the goals you've set for yourself? Too often, people are so eager to be the shoulder others can lean on that they end up carrying everyone else's weight. And in the process, they become worn out and empty themselves. You can't give to others when you have nothing left to give. Here's the truth. Helping others is noble, but only after you've secured your own success. It's like the oxygen mask on an airplane. They tell you to put your mask on first before assisting others. Why? Because if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to help anyone else. The same principle applies in life. You can't help others if you're broke and struggling yourself. You can't be a beacon of support if your own foundation is crumbling. You can't give people the guidance they need if you don't have the stability to offer it. Take a moment to look at the most successful people you admire. Do you think they became successful by giving up everything for others? No. They understood that in order to be in a position to truly help people, they first had to build their own success. They worked on themselves, on their skills, on their financial security, and on their dreams. And only when they reached a place of strength were they able to lift others up. Let me give you an example from my own experience. There was a time when I was so focused on helping people around me, family, friends, colleagues, that I neglected my own ambitions. I spent countless hours supporting others, only to find myself exhausted and unfulfilled. My dreams took a back seat. I couldn't take care of myself, let alone work on the things that would secure my own success. It wasn't until I realized this truth that things began to change. I had to start by investing in myself, my knowledge, my growth, and my future. Once I did that, I was in a much stronger position to help others. I had more energy, more resources, and more wisdom to offer. But there's a catch here. I'm not saying you should become selfish and stop helping people altogether. What I'm saying is that you need to prioritize your own success first. Make sure you are on solid ground and then help others from that place of strength. Don't give until you have nothing left. Don't run yourself into the ground helping others only to be left with an empty tank and unfulfilled goals. In the world of wealth building, this principle is especially important. Wealth doesn't come to those who spread themselves too thin. It comes to those who invest in themselves, who take care of their own financial well-being, and who build a foundation strong enough to support others once they've reached their goals. I know this might sound harsh to some, but it's the truth. If you're always the one giving, always the one sacrificing, you'll find yourself with little left to show for it. You won't be able to fulfill your own potential. But when you start putting your own success first, you'll find that you have more to give to others in a more meaningful way. Take care of yourself, invest in your future, build your wealth, secure your success. And once you've done that, you'll be in a far better position to help others, not from a place of depletion, but from a place of abundance. Because true generosity comes from strength, not sacrifice. Many nice people believe that if they just wait long enough, success will come to them. They think that by putting in enough time and effort, it will all just fall into place. But here's the truth. Success doesn't just happen to you. It's something you create. And I'm here to tell you that wealth is built by those who prioritize themselves, not by those who wait around for an opportunity to knock. The world is full of people who are waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for someone to notice their efforts and reward them. But waiting doesn't bring success. It never has and it never will. The marketplace doesn't reward effort, it rewards results. You can work 18-hour days and still not achieve anything if you're not working in the right direction. Success is not about putting in time for the sake of it. It's about taking strategic, decisive action toward your goals. It's about creating value and making sure that value is recognized. Look at the wealthiest individuals in the world. Are they sitting back hoping that success will come to them? Absolutely not. They are taking action every single day. They prioritize themselves, their goals, and their growth. They go after success with confidence. They know that the world won't hand them anything. They have to go out and claim it. These are the people who understand that success isn't passive. It's active. It's about making bold moves, taking risks, and positioning yourself in the right place at the right time. And most importantly, it's about never waiting for permission. There's a quote I've always lived by. The few who do are the envy of the many who only watch. It's a simple truth. The few who take action, who seize opportunities, who invest in themselves, are the ones who achieve greatness. The others, the ones who sit back, wait for the stars to align and hope success will find them, are the ones left behind. And trust me, if you're one of those who wait, you'll find yourself stuck in the same place year after year, watching others pass you by. Let me give you an example from my own experience. Early in my career, I had a choice to make. I could either wait for the perfect opportunity or I could create one. I chose to create one. I didn't wait for someone to tap me on the shoulder and say, "You're ready." I took action. I sought out opportunities. I put myself in positions where success wasn't a matter of waiting, it was a matter of doing. And by doing, I created the wealth and success I have today. The key here is not to wait for circumstances to change. Don't wait for things to be easier, for the market to shift in your favor, or for the right time to come. There is no right time. The right time is always now. You have to create that momentum yourself. If you're constantly waiting, you're letting opportunities slip through your fingers. You're letting others pass you by, and eventually you'll be the one looking back, wondering where the time went. If you want to build wealth, you have to make it a priority. You can't wait for permission. You can't wait for the perfect circumstances. The successful people in this world are not waiting. They're creating. They're building. They're moving forward, regardless of the obstacles in their way. They've learned that success is not a matter of fate. It's a matter of making your own fate. So stop waiting. Start taking action. Prioritize yourself and your goals. And remember, success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who make it happen. Take control of your destiny. Take the risks. Make the moves. And don't let the world pass you by while you're sitting on the sidelines. Kindness is a virtue, but weakness is a liability. You see, there's a difference between being kind and being a pushover. And if you're always being nice at the expense of your own success, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if you just keep being nice, things will eventually work out for you. But the reality is, being nice alone won't make you rich. Being strong will. The people who achieve wealth and success aren't the ones who make all their decisions based on emotion. They aren't the ones who go through life always worried about pleasing others. The wealthy think logically, act boldly, and make strategic moves that will get them closer to their goals. Now, don't get me wrong. Kindness is important. It's a quality that we should all strive to have. But kindness without strength is just weakness. You see, being kind doesn't mean saying yes to everything, letting people walk all over you, or sacrificing your own future for the sake of others. Real kindness is knowing when to help and when to say no. It's about setting boundaries and understanding that you can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't take care of yourself first, you won't have the energy, resources, or strength to help others effectively. In fact, the people who constantly give without building themselves up first often find themselves drained, frustrated, and unfulfilled. The rich and successful don't let emotions or fear of rejection dictate their financial decisions. They understand that in order to achieve success, they must act strategically and logically. They make bold moves when necessary. They take calculated risks, and they don't shy away from making tough decisions. It's not about being ruthless. It's about being strong enough to make the decisions that are best for your future, regardless of how difficult they may seem in the moment. I often tell people formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. This is where strength comes into play. Success isn't something that just happens to you because you're nice or you work hard. It comes from the knowledge you acquire, the skills you develop, and the decisions you make. And that's not something that's taught in school. The wealthiest people in the world are always learning, whether it's through reading, mentorship, or personal experience. They understand that in order to grow, they must continuously improve themselves. And that improvement often comes from making uncomfortable decisions and stepping outside of their comfort zones. If you want to build wealth, you have to be strong enough to take risks. You have to be willing to make bold financial choices, even when everyone around you is telling you it's too risky. Wealth doesn't come to those who hesitate. It doesn't come to those who play it safe. It comes to those who are strong enough to make decisions that others won't. Think about the most successful people in the world. Are they always nice? Maybe, but they're also strong. They're not afraid to make tough decisions. They're not afraid to say no when it matters. They know that success isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about making the right moves, even when those moves are unpopular. And that's what sets them apart. You see, when you're always being nice, you're focused on the wrong things. You're focused on the short-term comfort of others instead of the long-term benefits for yourself and those you care about. Strength, on the other hand, is about focusing on the long game. It's about making the tough choices today that will pay off tomorrow. It's about building the foundation for your future, even if it means disappointing a few people along the way. So if you want to become wealthy, you have to be strong. You have to be willing to stand firm in your decisions, even when they aren't popular. You have to prioritize your own growth and success over the comfort of others. And you have to be willing to make bold moves, take calculated risks, and refuse to let fear hold you back. Being nice won't make you rich, but being strong enough to make the tough decisions, to act boldly, and to constantly improve yourself will. It's time to stop being nice and start being strong. Strength is what will carry you to the success and wealth you deserve. In conclusion, the journey to success requires more than just kindness and hard work. It demands strength, discipline, and the courage to make bold decisions. Being too nice can hold you back from realizing your true potential. It's not about rejecting kindness or abandoning compassion, but about knowing when to prioritize your own growth, set boundaries, and make tough choices. Remember, success is earned, not given. It's earned by those who are willing to take risks.